time they saw each other in Week 8. Bill Belichick and the Patriots defense really forced Zach Wilson into making some mistakes. He tried to do too much. The whole thing unraveled. Now another shot at New England for Wilson. Here's his head coach, Robert Saleh, with more on the quarterback.
There's teachable moments in everything that happens, whether it's good or bad. And so even through the positive plays, there's a lot of things that can be taught to make it better. And through the negative plays, there's things that can be taught so we don't have those negative plays repeat itself. So the balance is, there is no balance. You just attack all of it exactly the same. And but you know, from a narrative standpoint, to try to attack a young man for 4 or 5 plays, 4 or 5 teachable moments in my mind, I just think we're missing the big picture on it. That's all.
Okay, that's reasonable. The Patriots have won 13 consecutive games against the Jets dating back to the 2016 season. That's currently tied for the longest active win streak over a single opponent in the NFL. For the Jets, it's their longest losing streak against any one opponent in franchise history. Marcus, clearly the Patriots have dominated the Jets, but how much does that impact a team's actual frame of mind going into a game? Are they really thinking about all this?
I think more so Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, this defense for the New York Jets, they don't give a damn who you are. Like,
right.
These young boys, they feel like we are here to dominate games. And I believe that is the way you get a Bill Belichick team. Unless you have a quarterback that's going to be smart for the duration of the game and have this ability. But guys like Quinnen Williams and Garrett Wilson, and when you talk about Sauce Gardner, these dudes are not thinking of the Jets like we think of them, right? And they've experienced success this year, right? Everybody said the Buffalo Bills going to win the AFC East. They didn't care about that. Right. We talked about how great Josh Allen. They had sometimes naivety to what has been happening, especially when you start putting a collection of guys together that are super talented, and they start kind of getting a taste of having success. Now you telling us we second in this division? Like, I think these young guys for the Jets really don't matter. This Patriots thing, this is about Zach Wilson's mind. Yeah. Let's make no mistake about it.
Right. And to that point of a specific matchup in the game, the Patriots offense, Dan, has struggled this season. What's something they need to correct to show they're heading in the right direction?
Yeah, so Patriots fans, pay attention to this one. So you watch the games and I'm like thinking to myself, well, why is Mac Jones like scrambling all the time? The timing of their pass game is not in sync with Mac Jones and his drops. Okay, I'm going to show you 3 clips. Everyone pay attention to Mac Jones right now when it comes to his drops. Key's going to know a lot about this. You're going to see him go 1, 2, 3, hitch, hitch. Now, he is in his second hitch. There is not a person, wide receiver-wise or pass-catching option-wise, that is actually ready for the football. But his clock is going hitch, hitch in the pocket. To us quarterbacks, we're like, man, I've held the ball forever. I got to go. He decides to take off. Guys, no one's even ready for the pass concept. That's clip number 1. Runs himself into a sack on 3rd down. The timing or the lack thereof. Again, pay attention to Mac Jones. You're going to see a very similar thing. He's going to take his shotgun drop. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to go hitch, hitch. He's in his second hitch. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not a single guy looking for the football. There's one person looking for the ball. He's 2 yards downfield. Everybody that could potentially catch a pass downfield. Second of all, this is god-awful spacing by New England as well. But the lack of that syncing the drop to the route concept or the depth of those receivers is a big issue. You're going to see it again on a wrap in. Now pay attention again to Mac Jones and the wrap in by this receiver. Mac's going to take his shotgun drop. Go 1, 2, 3. This time he's going to try to get the ball out. 1, 2, 3 on that hitch. Mac is throwing that football, okay? That ball is coming out of his hands. This receiver's nowhere near ready getting into the top of his cut. The ball's already out of Mac Jones's hands. This guy, see that ball out? He's still looking at the corner. The ball's on its way. It's going to be there right now, and that's why you get that moment where he just turns his head key, and the ball, now it's not perfect, but if he had gotten his head around a little bit quicker or the sinking of that was a little bit better, that's a completed pass. If I was the Patriots and in conjunction with like their pass game, that would be the focus that I would have had in the bye week, is like figuring out, is the quarterback's drop too fast? Are his hitches too fast? Are the receivers too deep in their concepts? Like there's a disconnect with the syncing of it.
Major disconnect as a receiver, Dan. I know that for a fact. It makes me feel like they got in the room and they said, hey, let's do this, do that. You take a 7-step drop. And I know that's not the case with Bill Belichick, but when you look at that, there's no timing. Everything needs to be synced. If he's going 5, that route needs to be at 15
Right,
depth, right?
right.
If he's going 3, that route needs to be at a 6-yard depth. What Dan just showed right there is beautiful. You cannot win football games with that.
I got time to ask him something. Both of y'all, right? You quarterback, wide receiver connection.
amazing.
When you guys meet, right? When you have this time in the off season, when we see all of these guys spending time in the
Mac
summer,
Jones did that.
exactly.
Yeah.
We talk about timing,
Yes.
right? Is that to build those in-game situations more than build rapport between you guys? And can coaching mess that up?
In game, I'll tell you a story. Dan Henning was my offensive coordinator. We played the New England Patriots. I was in Dallas. Ty Law was the corner on me. Throughout the course of the week, we ran a bang 8, but we ran a bang 8.
Which is a post.
Which is a skinny post, typically off a 5-step and a hitch. But we did it on a 7-step because I ran the quick. I ran about 10 to the out, back to the post, but we did it on a 7-step drop to time it up
To
right.
give you the time
To
to
give
do
you the
it.
time to do all of that unnecessary stuff to get open.
Yeah,
I had to do stuff to get open, you know.
I mean,
couldn't
this
just
is-
outrun a guy.
I mean, this is stuff that you work in throughout the whole offseason.
Yes.
And it's different with certain guys, too. Like, he might run, a 5-step, for me, a 5-step out at 10 yards.
Right.
And, another receiver might get to 9 yards. So, like, there is that
Yeah, I
difference.
was pretty precise in my depth.
There's
though.
that difference, but the marrying of that stuff
is important.
Yeah, and Marcus, I'm not even talking about rhythm. He was on his second hitch.
Right. So,
ready to throw the ball.
adjustment of speed as well.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
what I
just
hear you saying.
based on what Dan just showed us, that to me says that's on the coaching. That's not
I agree
on
with
anybody, unless Mac is not doing what they're telling him, but we don't know that.
Right.
But if we're just looking at that, and those routes are being run, and those guys' helmets have not turned, but he's ready to throw, that's the quarterback, and that's the coach. That is not the receiver.
Dan, is that something you can overcome from the play caller?
Not overcome, but it's something that you could address. It's certainly something.
Right.
That's why in the bye week, I hope that they have addressed it. In game, you cannot overcome that.
Gotcha.
No, because
Right.
you're playing on time.
playing on time.
Let's go.
And before you move, Laura,
My bad, Boogie. I was just.
No, I love it. It's
communication,
fascinating. Go
the communication could get crossed too. He's thinking what Josh McDaniels was telling him to do on his drop versus what they're telling him to do on
Right.
his drop. So the
fair.
communication.
But
And
you're
that's
not
fair
going to
in the 2
have
years.
that many communication issues, like all these that you found, if it's not some sort of maybe larger
Overall
But it's
issue.
just
thing.
Overall
hard for
thing.
Belichick
Yeah.
team
I also
because they
think,
so
too,
well
it's-
prepared.
On paper, it says, 3-step drop.
Yes.
Is it a quick 3? Is it a rhythmic 3? Is it
Yeah.
a slow 3?
There's
That's
some
how you
nuance
kind of
to that,
pace all
for
that
sure.
together.
Stretch it.
Okay,
Yeah.
coming up next on NFL Live, we're going to head to the trenches. We're talking about all this quarterback receiver stuff. Let's get into the big fellas. O-line versus D-line. Dan and Marcus will tell you the best battles in the trenches you'll see in Week 11. Stay tuned.